Hey guys, Funkymusic here, and today I wanted to cover this topic about looking at your grid and looking at your character when you're healing using your peripheral vision. I had a guy on YouTube ask me about this, I think a couple weeks ago, and I've had somebody else recently ask me about it. So weird, good topic, something I've never really talked about. I guess when I really got to thinking about this, I'm like, why the hell haven't I talked about it? Oh, that's right, because I just do it without thinking, honestly. So the main reason why his point was, why wouldn't you put it just down by your action bars and be looking at, down by your action bars and then back up to your character? Why wouldn't you do that? It just makes it easier to look down, up, or up, down, whatever you need to do. And I go, well, if you're looking at your grid and you have to look up your character where you are, you're probably doing it wrong. Like, you need to be using, a lot of this has to do with just your peripheral vision. Looking up and looking around at what your character is. Another thing is you want to have your camera to max zoom. A lot of guys run 30. I run 50 to 70 on my zoom. I zoom as far out possible as I can. Now, some bosses you can't really get a whole lot out because the camera won't go outside the room. But in ICC, there's plenty of fights where you can really get far out. Gunship, DBS, because they're outside, Lich King because they're outside, Syndragosa outside. I mean, there's lots of fights where you can there's plenty of space where you can zoom that camera out. RS is another fight where you can zoom pretty far out. The further you zoom out, the easier it is going to be able to see everything and what's going on. That should be common knowledge now. I feel like I shouldn't have to go over that, but some people still, I see their screenshots and their cameras are pretty far zoomed in, and you don't want to be zoomed in that far. It's not very wise when you're doing PvE. So back to point though here, a lot of the stuff I do is just peripheral vision, guys. It's kind of hard for me to explain. It's just easier for me to use my peripheral vision. Now, I do want to say, I do run a chat. I got the chat window here, as you can see. The recounts, the DPS and the healing recounts, my bars, bartender there, even my player frame. If you look there, like, a lot of this stuff is just in the way. I don't need all that stuff. That stuff could all be taken out as a healer. I really don't need it. Doesn't do me any benefit whatsoever. I can see my own health on my grid. I also know when I'm low mana. I don't need to have that in front of my face. My grid will warn me of all these things. So it's something I don't really need. It's just aesthetically pleasing, I guess. Something there so I can keep an eye on, dumb stuff and whatnot. I can look down at my bartender, see which spell's on cooldown. Although I can track it in DBM, I can see it there. I can also see it on my Forte Exorcist bar. So I really don't need to be running all those things. Just real quick, the reason I do run those is about 7 years ago I got accused of using Hitchhiker, back when Hitchhiker was still a thing. And somebody was accusing me of covering up my bars and cheating. So I actually used to keep my messages down there in the middle, like, hey, what's going on, or what music do you guys want to listen to? That's how I used to have the old stream way back. If you go on my Twitch videos, you scroll way down, you'll see how I used to have it set up. Probably one of my first videos ever. So yeah, that's why I had it there. And then I get yelled at for it, or somebody brought it up, and basically, like, a whole bunch of people were jumping on the bandwagon. So I removed it, and they wanted to see, all the bars and whatnot, and blah blah blah, and what my setup looked like. So that's why I run it the way I do. Just real quick to get that out there for people asking about it. Again, even though you're looking at my my UI, you'll see, like, the recount is all see-through behind it. The chat window is see-through behind it. Even the grid is transparent. That little extra block, that little gray block going around it is transparent. Even the bartender that I'm using, normally if you had if you're using the default or if you're using something else, a lot of the times they don't put, they'll show you the block of where you could put stuff if you wanted to put stuff there, the little square where you could drag a spell to. I have those disabled so you can't see them, so it allows me to see a lot of things a lot clearer. I try to set everything to a transparent background, that way I can see what's going on behind there. You don't want a whole bunch of stuff cluttering up your UI. We've talked about UIs in the past and how people do just a crazy job. How they even see where the fuck they're going is beyond me. If they're trying to heal and use their peripheral vision, oh my god, I could just imagine. I'd be going bananas. But a lot of the stuff I do, guys, besides using my peripheral vision, just real quick, is it just comes with practice. A lot of it's just practice, honestly, just knowing where to be, where to stand. Having done this for 8 years, it comes second nature to me. Now, I don't want to say go out there and practice using your peripheral vision. You guys know how to use your peripheral vision. I think it's more of a familiarization with the raids and where to stand, where to be, at what time. I think there's been a few times. There's super rare occasions. I bet you 99.9% of the time, if I'm in a raid and I'm busy healing, there's very, very, very few times where I need to look where my character is. Even when we are, let's say, like Syndragosa, getting behind a tomb and getting proper placement, I might make one move with my mouse off my grid to get me correctly at the angle I want to be, or the camera angle or whatever. One quick move right off my grid, put myself where I need to be, bang, I'm back to it. So I'm wasting a second just doing that. And that's only on rare occasions, like I said, for like tombs, making sure. And once I have the camera angle at the correct angle where I want it at, I tend to set it there and leave it there. And then I just, use the keys to move the character where I need to be, sidestep or, whatnot, and back up, move forwards, back and forth, all that stuff. I do everything through my keys, so sometimes I just have to reposition the camera. That's about it. So other than that's how I've always healed, and it's a great question to ask. But I think that people are, if you are focusing on your grid, you need to start using your peripheral vision a lot more. Even if you are focused, even if you have to go and look at your character real quick just to get your place where you're going and stuff. You can use your peripheral vision to look at your grid and kind of just keep healing on your grid. But your main focus as a healer is going to be keeping an eye on your grid. I mean, you got to know who to heal, what spells you're using, how much time's left on this hot or that hot, especially as a Resto Druid. Or if you're going to hit the right person with the wild growth, or what, and whatnot. So you're going to be focusing on your grid a lot more so than anything else. So hopefully that answered that question. It's a good question to ask me. I've never really thought about it until, like I said, until I was asked about it. So anything else you guys want to discuss? Ask me about anything else, anything I could do better in the video. Because this is just kind of just me putting a picture up with some paint where my eyes are kind of focused in at. Just want to let you guys know that's how I do it. I'm not sure if there's really another way. If other healers really do focus in on their grid and kind of move both their eyes over to their character when they have to move, and then back from their character back to their grid. But that's never how I've healed. Ever. If you guys have watched me, maybe I should stream with having the camera in front of my face and do a side-by-side shot of my eyes and where I'm looking and where my character is, something like that. But if you're watching the streams, you see my eyes are constantly more, well, I guess the way the camera's facing, they're focused in on one side more so than the other, because I'm constantly looking at my grid. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and see you next time.